Hannibal here to pull up some naughty Hannibal fanfiction, and Hannibal already has. Whoa! You can scroll there.
Yeah.
Oh, look at all of these saved already.
Shut up.
From favorites. Keep scrolling. Keep scrolling.
No, that's all it is.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow, that is impressive.
Shut up.
Look at all those. Dirty,
Why is that in there?
Dirty. What? What is
You're
it?
supposed to be in the how to make a chocolate bubble bath.
Reference, maybe?
Yes. So, whatever. I have a life.
Hannibal needs breaks from time to time. He's a very busy man. Doing very busy things. Like eating people.
I don't eat people. What are you talking about? Gosh. Actually, none of them.
Everybody eats people nowadays. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Just submit it in front of the camera.
It's a thing.
Yep, it's a thing. Just admit it.
I don't do it. I'm not weird.
It's so common, you know. It's just you just gotta like get with the new gang, you know. Like, okay, fine.
I should have worn my contacts.
This is Hannibal's reading glasses. He needs it too.
I'm getting older. It happens.
He's an old man, and I am a young man.
I'm not that old.
You're old to me.
Old enough to have sex.
You're just getting.
With
he's
you.
just getting there where it won't be. What?
What?
What? No, he's getting to the point where you won't be able to anymore. He's
What?
old.
No.
Yeah.
No. Anyways. Okay, you're gonna have to be Will, and I'm gonna.
No, we should just read it line for line.
Yeah, see, the Hannibal starts, and yeah, that'll be great.
Okay. This is happening.
You're the one that was like, get the dirty.
I'm gonna hide behind my boxers now.
Oh, are you shy, Will? This is good for you. This is being honest with yourself.
Okay. It's another psychiatrist. How do I keep saying psychologist?
I don't know.
Psychiatrist thing.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go along with it if it's for the best.
Yep, it's for the best. I'm paranoid your sister's gonna walk in.
No, she won't walk in. Yeah.
Okay. Is something bothering you, Will? Hannibal asked the man opposite him, who seemed to be staring into space. Will almost jumped at the sound of Hannibal's voice breaking the silence.
Oh, no. His eyes flicked up over his form. But he awkwardly looked away quickly and then stood up, shoving his hands into his pockets and walking slowly around the back of his chair, just pacing.
You're sure about that? Hannibal asked him again, voice calm and gentle. Will was clearly not telling his psychiatrist something that was bothering him. Will, who was
I know what's bothering him. He's reading graphic fanfiction. That's what's bothering him.
This is good for you. Will, who was now leaning against the ladder in the far corner of the room, let out a sigh and rubbed his eyes, not responding to Hannibal's question. Silently, the doctor got to his feet and followed Will across the room, standing almost directly behind the shorter man. There was silence for another few moments.
It's just... Will turned around and, not knowing that Hannibal was now standing right behind him, practically bumped into the man.
Just what? Hannibal asked, not even fazed by the extremely small amount of space that was now separating them.
He stumbled over his own words, his mind forgetting all knowledge of how to speak as his blue green eyes locked with Hannibal's rather mesmerizing brown ones. He couldn't hide it anymore, certainly not after the light blush spread across his cheeks. If it was possible, which it must have been, Hannibal moved ever so slightly closer, although he stayed silent. Will found himself not able to look away, and before he knew it, he closed a small gap between them and pressed his lips to Hannibal's. It wasn't an evasive, nerdy kiss, but it was a gentle and soft, unsure. As much as he was enjoying it, Will suddenly pulled back and pressed himself against the ladder.
You said nerdy kiss. It was needy kiss.
Oh, fuck. Okay, it was a nerdy kiss. No, I say it's a nerdy kiss.
Whatever. Keep
I say
going.
nerdy. Is it my line still?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, okay. I'm sorry, I don't know what came over me. Oh, God. That's how I feel too if I kissed a psychopath.
What?
Oh God! Why did I do that? Oh God!
Can't resist.
The criminal profiler put his head in his hands, feeling awfully ashamed of himself for doing such a thing. It was only when he felt a hand on his arm did he look up and see that Dr. Lecter's face wasn't angry or offended, but actually quite the opposite.
I assume that was what has been bothering you.
Jeez, man, what crap is all these? He just said, fuck. He just had the little
I'll
sentence.
read this, okay?
Okay, fine.
You have to read the words though.
What?
Before Will could even finish his sentence, he found that his lips were once again locked to Hannibal's as he was kissed again. This time, it was deeper and more eager. One of Hannibal's hands moved to Will's neck to pull him closer, whilst Will wrapped his arms around the taller man's neck, his hands dangling in light brown, almost gray hair. He felt Hannibal's tongue slip past his lips, and suddenly they were both fighting for dominance. Although while Will... What was that?
I am the boxers.
Will is undressing.
Yes, it's making me very hot.
Okay. Although Will seemed to be losing the battle, he moaned into the other man's mouth eagerly. I think we're both wearing far too much clothing. Yes.
Oh my God.
Ooh, your legs are really smooth.
Yeah, look at these glorious hairless legs that Will Graham apparently has.
I shave him when he sleeps. It's your turn. Fine.
Sorry.
Hannibal mumbled against Will's lips. In response, Will just nodded breathlessly as he immediately shrugged up his jacket off onto the floor, his shirt quickly following after he managed to undo all the buttons with fumbling fingers.
Where are we?
Hannibal roamed his eyes appreciatively over Will's now exposed torso and absent-mindedly licked his lips. The small action turned Will on even more, and he felt himself grow harder in his jeans. Hannibal noticed his growing discomfort and, ignoring his own growing need, moved his hands down to undo Will's jeans. After kicking off his shoes, Will's clothes were a messy pile on the floor, and his cheeks were stained a light pink color. I like it when you get embarrassed.
Is that what it says?
Yes, Hannibal said quietly, more as a passing comment than anything else. So he would be like, I like it when you get embarrassed. Sorry.
Are you trying to work on your Hannibal voice?
You know what? I like it when you get embarrassed. He moved his lips down to Will's neck and nipped along the jawline, moving down further to suck at a particularly sensitive spot while his hands roamed over the exposed, warm flesh of Will's back.
You're like, where?
This elicited a moan from him, and he just suddenly thought,
What the? Am I going to have sex with Dr. Lecter in his office?
am I about to have sex with Dr. Lecter?
What did I just say?
Am I going to? He wasn't afraid to admit to himself that the thought alone sent shivers down his spine. Following that, his hands went to push Hannibal's jacket from his shoulders, but the psychiatrist grabbed his wrist gently to stop him, lifting his head back up. If you wouldn't mind, I prefer to undress myself. Will raised an eyebrow at this, and suddenly a thought came into his head.
Can I watch?
A smirk appeared on Hannibal's face. I was rather hoping you would say that. Sit. He gestured to one of the chairs closest to them, and Will obediently sat in it, his erection clearly showing through the thin white cotton of his underwear.
Okay, I'll stop.
No, keep doing it.
Twitch. Oh, little girl giggles from Hannibal.
No, I don't have girly giggles.
You do, yes you do. That's so funny.
And then pulling the
Want me to read?
No. Turning to face him, but not looking at him, Hannibal began to undress. It was like everything he did, a performance, and perfectly executed. He began by undoing
Well, you
the
see,
buttons.
Hannibal was a stripper before he was a psychologist.
Nobody needs to know that.
I keep saying psychologist, damn it.
Yeah. Kicking off his shoes at the same time, and then pulling the garment off his shoulders. His waistcoat shortly followed. Both items of clothing now hung over the back of another chair. Will felt his mouth beginning to water as Hannibal began to undo the buttons on his crisp white shirt. Careful hands loosening the buttons of his shirt collar. Soon enough, that was also thrown over the back of the chair, and Will was able to gaze lustfully at Dr. Lecter's beautifully muscled torso. How the hell the man got the time to work out, he'd never know. Enjoying the show, I see.
Hannibal said slyly without even looking. Will only nodded, not able to respond as Hannibal unbuckled his belt and slid his trousers perfectly slowing down his legs. Will began palming his own rock-hard length through his underwear as his gaze shifted down to marvel at Hannibal's straining erection through tight black cotton briefs. Soon enough, both Hannibal and Will were left in just their underwear, and Will could now see how much physically bigger Hannibal was compared to him.
Oh my.
Aww.
Shut up, you don't get a good D bigger.
In terms of muscle and height.
What?
I thought he was talking about his dick.
He's always talking about his penis.
It only got him more aroused. By this point, both men were throbbing and desperate for some attention. So to speed things up, and much to Will's surprise, Hannibal dropped to his knees in front of where he was sitting. He dragged Will's hand out of the and leaned down and pressed an open mouth wet kiss to Will's, making an erection through the material of his underwear. You read, I can't go on.
That's yours.
Oh!
What a lame though.
Oh, you want me to really
instantly unhard. I'm sorry, it's never happened before. He let out a breathy moan. One of his hands moving to tangle in Hannibal's hair again. Don't touch my hair.
Aww.
Hannibal's fingers poked under the waistband of the cotton underwear and quickly pulled them down, exposing Will's throbbing cock to him. He tentatively flicked out his tongue and licked the head, causing the I can do this.
No, you can't.
Second. Causing the fingers in his hair to tighten their grip. Taking this as a sign to carry on, Hannibal took the entire head into his mouth and sucked gently. Will responded with a groan. Stop trying to be sexy. You're not fanfiction, Will Grant.
I'll stop. No one.
I have to find where I was. Groan, and he couldn't really believe how skilled Hannibal was with his tongue. Although it didn't really surprise him, if he was honest. Hannibal took more of Will into his mouth, teasing him simultaneously with his tongue and forgetting about his own growing need for the time being. See, I'm so considerate.
Hannibal's used to having meat in his mouth. That's why he's so skilled. Yeah. I'm not referring to the cannibalism.
What cannibalism?
I'm referring to the you're a stripper past life. Yes.
What did we talk about?
Yes. See, you're a stripper. How could you?
Shut up. Will was using all his strength just to refrain from fucking the mouth that was on him, and his hands were tugging at the thick strands of Hannibal's hair, which made him... What did I say about touching my hair? Which made him groan, and the vibrations felt amazing.
Oh, God.
Will moaned deeply, looking down. He admired how the dimming light from the outside cast shadows on Hannibal's face, his distinct cheekbones and jawline standing out beautifully. Will's head then fell back against the back of the chair. He could feel himself building rapidly when suddenly it was gone. He looked down again only to find Hannibal smiling at him, lips pink and slightly swollen. He opened his mouth to say something when Hannibal cut him off. We don't want this to be over before it started, do we, Will? He said. His voice sounded like melted dark chocolate mixed with honey.
Oh, well, that's a turn on right there. I always put chocolate in it. But, no, Will responded breathlessly. He suddenly had an overwhelming urge to kiss the man kneeling in front of him, but Hannibal seemed to read his mind because that's exactly what happened. Leaning up, Hannibal pressed his lips to Will's hungrily, and big, strong hands found their way into Will's messy curls. With Will trailed his lips suddenly across to Hannibal's ear. That's a noise an ear makes, see that?
Continue.
Are you going to fuck me or not, Dr. Lecter? He whispered huskily.
Please, call me Hannibal. He smirked and then got to his feet, pulling Will with him and then leading him across the desk. To the desk. Will maintained a slightly confused expression, but he got the gist of things when Hannibal suddenly wiped everything that was once on his desk onto the floor. With one sweep of his arms, sending sheets of paper and a couple of books onto the floor. Hannibal pressed one hand to the small of Will's back, directing him gently. Will didn't need further instruction, and so he bent himself over the desk, the cool wood surface sending shivers down his spine. Hannibal smiled before moving over to his jacket and pulling out of it a condom and a small packet of lube.
Jesus, Hannibal!
I've been waiting for this. Of course, he'd known the moment Will had stepped into his office that he had been on his mind, so he'd immediately prepared himself for the inevitable. Hannibal quickly returned to Will, who was still bent over his desk. He paused to admire the slender form and was pretty sure that he wouldn't be able to sit on the desk again without getting slightly aroused. Sit at his desk again without getting slightly aroused. Will listened as a foil packet was ripped open and the smell of latex filled the air around them. He tilted his head and watched behind him as Hannibal rolled the condom onto himself. No peeking, Mr. Graham.
That's the sound of the condom going on.
You would know, Will. His tone...
Hey, that doesn't imply gay sex, that does imply sex, so I'll totally agree to that one. Yeah, you're right.
His tone was commanding, and Will immediately obeyed, turning back around and deliberately lifted his hips up. He was rewarded with a short, sharp slap on his ass.
That's a reward, apparently.
Hannibal tore open the small... Stop slapping yourself.
Never!
This is why you need to see a psychiatrist.
Yes.
Tore open the small packet of lube, squeezing some onto two of his fingers and then the majority of it onto his own cock. He proceeded to gently place his two lubricated fingers at Will's tight entrance as his breath pitched at the feeling. Relax. Hannibal's tone soothed him, and he relaxed. Catching him slightly off guard, Hannibal took the opportunity and pushed one of his fingers in. Will let out a ragged breath, and after adjusting, he moved back the slender finger inside of him. Hannibal added another slowly, and then began to scissor his two fingers, stretching Will open. He purposefully brushed against the man's prostate, and smirked when Will arched his back and moaned lightly.
Please, he mumbled quietly.
I'm sorry, William. I can't hear you. Say it again. He brushed against his prostate again, and Will cried out desperately.
Fuck me. I had to do that very silently, or if we were home alone, I would have just screamed that.
That's better.
That's better.
Hannibal smirked, pulling his fingers out of Will and proceeding to line up his rock-hard cock to Will's entrance. His strong hands gripped Will's hips, and he waited for a moment longer before snapping his hips forward and pushing all the way into his hilt.
Oh.
Both men groaned simultaneously. And Hannibal hesitated to allow Will to
That was so simultaneous.
It's not my fault you can't follow me.
Move, please, Will half begged him, and Hannibal happily obliged, beginning to move in and out of them. He picked up his pace, his hands gripping Will's hips hard enough to leave bruises, which he was hoping would happen. Will cried out, and Hannibal's thrust hit his prostrate every time and was very quickly building. Oh, Hannibal, he moaned, gripping the desk with white knuckles. Give me the rest. I'm tired.
Liar, you heard the door open.
No.
Yes.
Go on.
They were both so close to their climax already. Hannibal could feel it. So he reached around. No! Maybe your mom, but.
Go on, go on.
No, you're lying to me.
Hi. She can't hear a single word I'm saying.
She had earphones.
Yeah. I was talking to her and she was just nodding and being like, okay, whatever, Jenny.
Why you should have said the fuck me louder. They were both so close to their climax already. Hannibal could feel it, so he reached around and began to thump Will's cock in time with his thrusts. Will's legs felt like they were jelly, and suddenly he saw stars as he fell tumbling over the edge. He came hard, back arching as he climbed, cried out Hannibal's name over and over again. The psychiatrist couldn't hold.
I'll know. I'm listening.
Couldn't hold on any longer, and when he felt Will clenching around him, he groaned, his head falling back as he arched into Will. After waiting a minute or two, he slowly pulled out of Will, who was breathing hard and practically passed out on the desk, and pulled off the condom, throwing it into a nearby bin. He pulled Will up by his shoulders and led him across to the sofa that was in the corner of the room, pushing him down so he was lying on it. I'll be right back. He then disappeared into another room and soon returned with a large blanket. Will gave him a weak, tired smile. Hannibal sat next to him and wrapped the blanket around them both before laying back, Will's head moving to rest on Hannibal's chest.
Well, that was, he cleared his throat awkwardly.
It's still you. That's fine. Yes, it was.
Yes, he chuckled softly. Why would I say yes randomly?
Yes. Yes, he chuckled softly, and Hannibal smiled. Yes, it was.
We did it! Woo! Okay, should I stop the video?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thirsty now. That was tiring.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'll try it again. Hey, Mom, can you hear us?
Damn it, Sarah! Don't just like it!
Your sister. My sister is like a few rooms over right now, and she's just liking all these videos that we're currently posting. She needs to just pop up in the background and be all creepy. Damn it, woman! Don't just it. Give us suggestions.
Yeah?
Yeah, that works. Do it one. She's gonna be like, what?